if somebody is listening to this who identifies themselves as a young Robert Greene, they hate their boss, they have this real energy for autonomy and independence and are struggling. Obviously, you did for years and years and years. You just said this, that you've had something like 60 jobs before the age of 40, I think.
Yeah.
What are the, if you were advising someone who is you see a younger version of yourself in them, someone who has some talent and is really driven to become, you just use this word, free, or at least more free. What are the one or two pieces of advice or biggest mistakes you see people making that derail them from having a life that they really feel like is their own?
Well, you have to have patience.
Yeah.
And so a lot of young people are derailed by their impatience, and they think that I need to get a job that pays a lot of money. As we said before, they equate money with that freedom. And I equate learning skills with freedom. So when you're in your 20s, what you want to do is you want to have some fun. You want to have some adventures. You don't want to be so narrow focused that you're only heading down this one little career path like that. Because you're young, life is exciting. You need to enjoy that and you need to make use of it, because believe me, it doesn't last that long. But during that incredibly wonderful period of life in your 20s, you want to be learning skills. You want to be learning about life. You want to be learning about people. And so don't be in a hurry to create that great business. Don't be in a hurry to write that great book. Accumulate experience about people, accumulate skills. For me, it was writing skills and life experiences that went into the 48 Laws of Power. But, other people are going to have a different path. They're going to go into business, etc. And I often tell people, if you're 22, 23, and you're living in Brooklyn like you are in Williamsburg, and you're offered 2 jobs out of school, college, one is like $100,000 at, some Wall Street firm, right? And the other is like $25,000 a year working at some tech startup in Brooklyn where there's only 4 people working there. And it may not last for a few months. Take that $25,000 job, because you're going to learn. You're going to develop skills. It's going to be hands-on. You will get an education that is far superior to any MBA, to any internship at Goldman Sachs, etc. Right? So you want to learn, you want to develop, and you want to explore. So maybe you think that you really want to head down this path towards being a writer or being a lawyer or whatever, and you try things out and you realize, no, that isn't really a good fit. But there was an element that I liked and an element that I hated. What was the element I liked? Well, maybe that reveals to me a side path I can start taking. And so your path to power is never like that. It's right? You find this doesn't work, you go over here, you find that, you concentrate, and slowly it gets a little bit straighter. Sorry for my weird body language here, but so, in order to do that, you have to be patient. You have to have faith in yourself, and you have to tell yourself that your most creative years, honestly, and I've studied this, and I wrote a book called Mastery about it, is when you hit 30. That's when you're at your top. For me, it was a little bit later, but let's say in your early 30s, because you've learned all these things, you had all this excitement, you've experienced, etc. But your mind is still open and fresh. It doesn't close down like it does when you get in your 40s and 50s and everything becomes stale. You still have an open mind. Now you've had all these experiences. You're going to create some amazing business, right? And so that's the path I would tell people. Is it's got to be your own path. You can't follow Robert Greene's path because it's going to be different. But you can follow the model, which is explore, have adventures, and accumulate skills. If you accumulate 3 or 4 skills in your 20s, for me, it was writing, it was discipline, it was research, it was languages, etc. By the time you hit 30, 35, you can be able to take all those skills and combine them into something that's very powerful and very unique.